Action.
My name is David Dean, and I'm currently a junior at Dickinson College. And last year, I attended Leadershape and developed a vision that led me to start an organization called Unity Hoops Basketball. We provide basketball-oriented youth empowerment programs on the very basketball-obsessed and also very impoverished Crow Indian Reservation in Montana, where we combine basketball training with a life skills curriculum and sort of use the sport as a common language to increase self-worth in our student athletes and also to empower them to pursue their highest potential. And another product of this vision was the founding of a campus men's group called MORE, and that stands for Men Overcoming Restrictive Expectations. And the goal of this was to create a campus environment where men can be true not to the binding social expectations that surround them and endanger people of all genders, but instead to the deepest, most central parts of their own consciousness. And so ultimately, Leadershape helped me turn this into all of this. And also more, the men's group. But the thing is that all of that would not have been possible without huge amounts of personal work and personal development. And what many of you will find is that as you continue to work on your visions, and as you continue to do that, the process of working to constantly live your truth is what you're doing. And like you did at Leadershape, that process still continues. And this still requires you to stretch yourself out of your comfort zone and to constantly work to align who you are with what you're doing. And that's a process that makes you feel very vulnerable, but is something that is completely necessary. And when you carry out your vision, the external developments of your vision, your stretch goals, as they're labeled at Leadershape, will always mirror your personal development. And so today, my goal is to provide you with my story, where I, like many of you, came into Leadershape looking for direction and really dug deep to understand who I was, and then attempted to assert those values that I had found so important to who I was onto the world through the form of a vision. And so I'm going to highlight my story, and I'm also going to highlight a group of concepts that I've sort of brought together and defined recently, but that I've realized have been so important as I've done this work. And so why I needed Leadershape. And like I said, I'm gonna delve into my past for this one, so you're gonna learn a little bit about me. I came into Leadershape feeling very depressed and confused and without direction for many reasons that I'll get into. But the first thing that I found so useful for me, and I think you did this at Leadershape too, but it was when at the initial part with our family cluster groups, where we began to reflect kind of on our recent life history and on some of the struggles that we had gone through over the past few years. And so now, basically, you're going to see that. Here's a little bit about my life. My childhood was defined by being incredibly small. This picture right here is from the summer before 9th grade, right after I graduated from a sleepaway camp that I had gone to for many years, and I think you all can guess which one I am. I'm on the right, and the two other guys were my age also. So I was very small, and what kind of happened was that being so much less developed than my peers, I started to develop this underdog mentality that kind of translated into everything that I did. And I constantly felt like others thought less of me because I was less developed, because I was small. And so I sort of embarked on this quest to prove myself, to prove that I had worth, that I was strong, that I was capable. And the vehicle that I mainly used to do this was basketball. And at a young age, I loved the game, and I still do today, but for many years, it was literally the definition of who I was. And it was a complete part of my identity. So I worked incredibly hard on my game and on my athleticism so that for once I could gain the acceptance that I thought was so important. And in high school, a lot of this was relatively innocent, and I mean, some of it was even meaningful. And a lot of my athletic experience in high school was very meaningful. But as I got older and stayed on this path, I began to have to conform and begin to emulate a lot of things that were much more problematic to continue to gain that acceptance, and to continue to gain that status. And so the ultimate form of, I guess, potential validation that I saw throughout high school and into college was playing college basketball. I was obsessed with this idea.